it's me, Kelsey Bell. I'm here with Todd Sullivan,
Hello.
and we are live in 100 Mile. We're at Sun Spirit Studios with Cindy Faulkner.
Hello.
Hi, Cindy.
Hi.
We're at her. Is your studio you own?
It is.
Very nice. I love it.
Yes, it's been Sun Spirit for about 30 years, 35
Oh, wow.
years. I've had that name. Yeah.
Oh.
I started pottery in high school. Yeah.
I was going to say, you don't look old enough to...
Yeah, it's only been a couple years.
Yeah, right out of the womb. You're a business lady.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you start the business like right out of high school, or?
Well, I got inspired in high school by my high school pottery teacher, Mrs. Moonen, she was just so supportive and encouraging. And I got the bug and I got addicted. And ever since high school, I've either belonged to a pottery studio and a club of sorts, like in False Creek Potters Club was my first. And then West End Potters Club. And then took ceramics at Capilano College with Sam Kwan.
Wow.
Amazing master potter. And yeah, so then after that, I've been teaching pottery and having my own studio somewhere or another for many moons.
Wow.
So you're used to the big city. Vancouver is
That's
where
right.
I
I moved up here about 7 years ago and just absolutely love it. Love the nature and the slowness and the lakes and the fishing and the kayaking.
Is business different being in a smaller town? Is it
There's a lot more interest in classes, I'll tell you that, because we have to drive right now all the way to Williams Lake for pottery classes.
Oh.
So I do want to put just a little plug in for creative art and hobby on Horse Lake Road in 100 Mile House, because they are doing some wonderful art classes, but they're also going to start doing some hand building pottery classes and eventually wheel classes as well.
Oh, wow.
and those are the ones you teach?
Well, I'll be teaching some of them. We've just been conversing about I'll be doing that, but yeah, they may have other people teaching the pottery as well, but they teach other things as well as pottery at this time. Yeah.
So what about pottery is it that you love? Like what is it that really hooked you?
It's the feel of the clay in my hands, the earthiness. It's very grounding. The smell of the clay when you open the bag. Some people don't like it at all. But I know my mom couldn't stand the feeling of clay under her nails. And some people, you either love it or you don't. And I think if you love it, you get hooked. And I got hooked. And I've never tired of it. Yeah. Every time you open a kiln, I think many potters feel this way. Every time you open a kiln, it feels like Christmas. You never know what that batch is going to turn out like. It might be fabulous. I always try to put in an experiment or two and to always check out some new formula or glaze combination or experiment. But
I remember kiln day can be a devastating day too if you don't do things properly, because then things can shatter and crack, right? I remember that in high school. I made a dragon and I was so excited to paint it and I couldn't because it broke.
Exactly. Yeah, it can be very devastating and disappointing.
Yeah. And Todd and I, when was this? Last year, we did pottery in Kamloops, and I was so excited because I was like, I want to make a mug. I'm excited to make a mug, and the first thing she says is like, be prepared to just leave home with nothing because it's harder than it looks, and that was the thing that I took away. I was like, wow, I have a huge respect for this art because it is so technical.
Yeah, it does take a while to learn. So if you have a really big expectation, as with anything in life, right? Not being attached to the expectation and the outcome, and enjoy the process, learn how to center, get a feel for the clay, get to know how clay is, then you're going to probably enjoy your experience. And if you get a successful mug the first time, that's a bonus, right?
They still have my bowl at Art Party.
Oh, you got to
have to go pick it up.
Go back in and paint it. Yeah. I assume they would have thrown it away by now, but no.
I can't wait to get in there. I haven't visited them yet since they opened, but I've been watching them online.
It's a really cool spot.
Yeah,
and they have even like a store. Let's not talk about them right now. We're here, and it looks like you have a bit of a store.
Yeah, I sell my pottery. I mostly sell at markets.
Okay.
Like the Women's Fair and the Garlic Festival is the next one coming up.
Oh, yeah,
That is so much fun. If you haven't been to the Garlic Festival, the South Caribou Garlic Festival, it's at the end of August every year. It is so much fun. The brown and blue combination that you're looking at right there is some of the first work I've ever done. I've kind of continued with that combination. Like The words were inspired by when I had a studio in Squamish and my daughter was in kindergarten, and we took a program called the Family Virtues Program, and you study one word with your family per week. It's a word that you'd like to bring into your family. And I started carving them around the bowls.
Oh, yeah.
And it's never stopped. And it's just such a, again, I never get tired of it. I do many other experiments and other types of work, right? Otherwise I would get tired. But it's just been it's kind of a meditation, carving the words around the rims. And
what are some of the words that you've used? Okay.
Yeah. Trust, love, courage, faith, abundance, joy, faith, love, wisdom, community, those kinds of words that I want to manifest into my life and into my community.
Sure.
High vibrational words of, I'm hoping that those will go with the bowls and onto the tables of the families that are.
What a nice thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you working on today?
Well, I've just put a big lump of clay on a plaster bat if you'd like to see throwing a bowl, I can do a little demo of how to throw a bowl.
Yeah, of course.
So the first thing you want to do is, of course, wedge your clay to get all the air out of it first on the wedging table. And then I'm using a plaster bat here because for larger pieces, a plaster bat allows the base to dry evenly with the walls. It allows it to release off of the plaster and dry evenly.
Okay.
So you really want to get this centered before you can start opening it up. And we do that by pushing our elbows in here and pushing our hands together. And when it stops wobbling greatly and you can feel that it's not doing this, then you know that you're centered.
Yeah.
And it also is a reflection of how centered I am, because the days that I can't get it centered, I'm like, what's going on? There's usually something going on that doesn't allow me to center.
Right.
I like how you think. So you're making a bowl without even looking at what you're doing. That is how good.
It's really about the feel. It really is about the feel of the walls, and you're wanting to go really slowly from the bottom right up to the top.
Yeah.
So that the bowl is, so that you're feeling it spiral at least once around before you move up is the goal.
Oh, it's so cool to see the texture. Do you want all those rings in the bowl itself?
No, we'll definitely take those. Well, I mean, sometimes some people like to leave the rings in, and for some textures, they actually look really nice. But for the inside, I like to have my inside nice and smooth for functional purposes, so that, if you're serving food or salad dressings or anything like that, things can be easily washed out.
Yeah.
How much do you know when you start, something, what it's going to look like at the end, and how much is it sort of discovered through the process?
Well, if you are making mugs, for example, the part that is dependable and that I know, it's the way I do it anyways, the way I learned in college, was I weigh my clay. So every mug, a large mug, is going to be a pound of clay. So I wedge a big lot of clay, I roll it into a log, and I cut them all into 1 pound sections. And then I know that those mugs are all going to turn out roughly about the same size.
Right.
From there, my hand has a bit of a memory into shapes that I use. But I always like to try different shapes as well. And I always like to try a couple of different glaze combinations and not be sticking to the exact same thing all the time.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
I want to have a little bit of creativity. So it's a little bit of a combination of both, not knowing and also starting prepared.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What sort of things inspire you to create? Like a breakup? Falling in love?
Yes, all those things.
Yeah.
All those things. Like I always joke, and it's not a lie, but this is my therapy. This is cheap therapy. It's like meditation. I find just holding the clay, whether I'm throwing or hand building, you just become, or I guess when people are painting or knitting or any maybe people who are cooks, when you're immersed in your craft, it's like a meditation, and it induces mindfulness. Right?
Yeah, you're like so locked in on what you're doing.
You're locked in on it, you know, and if I'm not locked in on it, those are those times when I can't get the clay centered because my mind is sort of over there somewhere, and I have to sometimes bring myself back. But I noticed that where I live definitely inspires my work as well. Like when I lived in White Rock, it was a lot of seahorses and seashells and ocean and all of that. And when I moved up here, you'll notice I carve a lot of I carve a lot of fish on my mugs because I've really come to love fishing, and there's so many lakes here, and bear claws and tree roots and things like that. So it's definitely almost subconsciously just comes out when you with what you surround yourself with. I think Yeah, so that's a little bit of throwing, and there is a...
Look how big your bowl got.
A bowl, yeah.
So what was your first creation in high school? What did you make that...
Oh, I wish I could remember what our first project was.
I wish you could remember too.
It could have been a mug or a little bowl, I don't know, but I have worked at my supplier a couple of times throughout my pottery career at Green Barn Potter Supply, and one day I was on the phone taking an order from somebody, and it was from Kitsilano High School. And I said, oh, that's where I learned pottery. I had the best inspiring teacher. And, oh, you're from Kits High School? And she said, yes. And I said, oh, she said, well, what was that teacher's name? And I said, Mrs. Moonen. And she goes, well, that's me.
Shut up.
And I said,
no.
I thought you said your name was something else. And she said, oh, that's because it's my married name. So she got to hear me say all these great things about how inspiring she was. I was so pleased. Yeah, it was nice. And she was there all those years later. And it takes
full circle.
It's really, really beautiful when a teacher can be that inspiring to somebody. That,
absolutely, yeah.
Because it can go the other way too. You can discourage people to never want to do something again, or you can encourage them and make them feel like they're, really good at something and encourage them to go on.
I think a lot of times with art, and in school, especially, you have. We're learning this week, so you have to do it this way. We're learning, color theory, or we're learning pen work or whatever. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times I think you just have to give people the freedom to play.
That's right.
And people, I think, also need to give themselves permission to play. I think that can be challenging, that people are like, no, I'm too old. I don't want to get my hands mucky.
Yes, and we have lots more preconceived notions about ourselves that we can or can't do something. That's why it's so fun to watch children in clay classes. You give them all the same ball of clay, and they'll come up with something like right out of this world. Each, no fear. There's just no fear yet, right? Yeah. And so that's what's so beautiful. And it's actually really fun teaching the mug making classes. I was mentioning at the Cask and Cleaver in the quieter fall and winter months, we do hand building clay classes there.
Oh, what fun.
It's called Pottery and Pint Night at the Cask and Cleaver here on Highway 97 in 100 Mile. And when it was first suggested, I couldn't believe it. I was like, well, how can you possibly make clay and have beer and a burger at the same time?
Don't you need a straw or something?
That sounds horrible. But it was...
The beer...
the beer hat. Yeah.
But there's never been a beer spilt. And everybody enjoys a burger. And
amazing.
We make hand-built mugs. And same thing. We all start with the same format and templates that we use to do hand building, just like we've got ready here. And it's just so much fun. And
so you don't use the wheel at these things?
No wheels. I was
like,
no.
Oh, okay. Like,
that would be pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that would be pretty hard to do. But we do hand built. So it's just like rolling out a pie shell of clay. And then we use little plastic templates to cut out our wall and roll it up, make a handle, and sit it on a base. Okay. And everybody paints and decorates their own mug. And it's a blast.
Oh, what a fancy little room.
So most of this has already been... fired. It's bisque fired. That's what it's called once it's been in. When it hasn't been fired, this is something that's dried, but it hasn't gone into the kiln yet. It's greenware. And it's the cheek test. It's like, you can tell
Did you say greenware?
Greenware. No idea where that came from.
Oh, okay.
Green as in undeveloped, unfired.
Yeah.
And
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's terms that we just aren't aware of, I
yeah,
guess.
and it makes me think where they came
Where
from.
do they
But
come from?
Well, it makes me think of when, like, you know, when someone's referred to as green because they're inexperienced, and like I
exactly,
feel like that's something similar. Like it's not been
exactly.
through the whole process yet.
Yeah. So this is inside of my kiln, which I bought from Green Barn,
Wow.
and a little bit of damage happens over
Yeah.
time because they are soft brick. So you build up your layers inside this kiln, and on top of these posts, you put another shelf and more work and more posts and another
Okay.
shelf. And the idea is to not fire it empty. You want to fire it as full as you
I
possibly
imagine
can
it takes a lot of
for efficiency.
energy. Yeah.
But these new computerized kilns are just brilliant. They are very efficient. The walls are very thick and very
Okay.
insulating. I have a vent that pulls the air slowly down so you get a nice even firing. It
Okay.
doesn't just, because hot air rises and the items on the top sometimes can be higher fired than the bottom. So this is beautiful. It pulls it down and then takes the fumes, or especially if you're firing paper clay, outside.
Right.
And yeah.
Do you have a preference between sort of teaching and hosting workshops versus creating stuff on your own?
I think it's a beautiful balance of both. I love my quiet time to just not have people around and create, and put my incense on and get in my
Yeah.
zone, have some fabulous creative music playing. Love those mornings. I get up at 5 a.m. So if I can come down here on a weekend with my coffee and do that, I'm in heaven. But that can also be very isolating. So getting out into the classes is so much fun, and getting feedback and watching other people get so inspired
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
really fun. Like there's some class mugs here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Most of them have gone back to them already. This is actually a little boy. This wasn't from the Cask and Cleaver. This is one of my favorite little boys. His name is Emerson.
Is that an alien?
And he made an alien.
That's amazing.
I love it.
But, like he just turned 8 years old, and that's going to be clear glazed, and then he can actually, it's all functional.
That's
You can,
his favorite coffee mug. when
that
he's an
might
old
be his
man.
favorite coffee mug. Yeah. So, yeah. So I really do love doing custom orders too. I'll show you if you like. I do like custom wedding bowls for people so that you can put their names and the date and maybe some words specifically to whether they're Fisher people or whatnot, or, something.
I'm looking at some really beautiful.
So I'm a Taurus, so everything is somewhat functional. Like I love making beauty, but the little practical side of me says everything's got to be functional and usable.
Yes,
So
I
yes,
agree.
they are definitely functional vases,
Wow.
but they're also
Are they heavy?
yeah, they're fairly heavy.
So is this? Sorry, I keep interrupting. Would you use paper? Is this made with paper clay?
I actually didn't use paper clay for these ones because I threw them on a wheel. I threw them in 2 parts. So I threw this part on the wheel and joined them, and then threw the top part. And so paper clay isn't great on the wheel. Okay?
Right.
It's not great on the wheel. But yeah, so these were so much fun. And so for me, it's like the natural unglazed, uncolored clay.
Oh, it's like
so
a tree.
the tree, see how it just keeps not planned. It just comes out intuitively.
Right,
so
yeah.
a lot of the growth and the nature, and sort of like what's inside, right? The inside of myself. And then on the outside, then you've got some color, you've got maybe some makeup, some fashion, some coverings, right? The outside projection. And so, yeah, so it's kind of like
little face in here too.
yeah, so it's kind of like a window into the soul. I like to think of these, and they've got little buttocks
Of course.
and
Very important.
and roots. Yeah, and they were just so much fun to make. I really enjoy.
I've never seen anything like
I really
that.
enjoy those ones. And then this one, I was inspired by some musician friends, so it's got the music
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
in there, and
Oh.
buttocks.
Buttocks.
Nice bum crack.
Yep. So those are really fun. So sometimes I if I've done a lot of production of mugs, garlic pots, or whatnot, it's nice to just take a little window of time and make something that just comes from the soul and keep that balance. And
Yeah.
Something that you can almost kind of find as your, whatever the word is.
yeah, you can feel like you can feel something emerging, like when you want to say something, or it's like that creation's got to come out, right? And if you keep it over here for too long and get too busy, I'll get cranky. So I have to let it out. Got to express what's wanting to come out.
Given that there's like all of these different, types of clay and different ways of firing, different temperatures of firing, like, is there any sort of pottery that you haven't gotten your hands into yet that you would one day like to?
Well, so I did study at Capilano College with Sam Kwan, I mentioned, and I can't say enough about him. So like, I would call him a master potter. Okay. He's just fantastic. And he taught us so many different variations of pottery. Gas and wood firing really excite me. And I did take my Volkswagen bus over to the island with my daughter when she was little. She was 36 now. So she was about 7. I think she got a picture. She's missing her teeth. We went over to the Anagama kiln in Nanaimo, which I think they've disassembled now, unfortunately. And a large group of potters can all bring your work and then use the glazes that are going to fire at that temperature and do a wood firing in an Anagama wood fire kiln. I would really like to do more. I'd love to have my own wood fire kiln. Or gas kiln. I have an old kiln that doesn't have elements in it anymore in my storage, and it's been sitting there for 7 years, and I keep thinking and hoping that I could turn that into a gas firing kiln and do cone 6 gas.
Are they fairly easy to adapt and modify to that?
I think once you've got it down, yes, but it's quite a learning curve to get your, control the temperature and the rate of the heat, increase of the heat. And but the glazes are just so phenomenally beautiful with a gas firing. Like what might be green might turn out pink in a gas firing. And it's just very beautiful. Same with wood, you get a lot of ash, so you get a lot of that natural orange and amber. Okay. So I think I like to do more natural firings. I aspire to, but it's such a tricky thing up here these days. Even in a gas kiln, you've got sparks coming out of the top, and I've just become such a fire safe person that you see, like,
you need to be living in this
how accidentally fires start up here. You just have to be super cautious. So one day, if there's the right spot or whatnot, I don't know. I haven't been able to let go of that kiln that's waiting to be converted anyway. So we'll see. Yeah.
Anything else that you want to show us?
Oh, can we talk about all this fun stuff? Is this your tinting and all that?
Yeah, those are all the chemicals that go into making a glaze.
That is cool.
Yeah, so you want to have clay that goes into a glaze, frit, which is ground glass. And all the different frets that give you a slightly different outcome and firing temperature. So all recipes will require a combination of a little bit of all of these. So these are the ones that give it color. So copper carb is obviously green. Chrome oxide is very deep green. Cobalt carb is a pink powder in this form, but it gives you the blue, cobalt blue color. And cobalt and lithium, which lithium gives me my beautiful turquoise that I love so much. They're both just shot through the roof because price-wise.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're using them to make those batteries, right? So very, very expensive to buy now. So I make my glazes in buckets, 5-gallon buckets this big, as you can see. And I just can't afford to do my green lithium glaze anymore. It's so expensive. So I'm experimenting with other recipes and
that's an artist's
compromising.
Dream. We like experimenting.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right.
One thing I remember from painting my pottery is being disappointed because I thought the color would look the same after it came out of the kiln, and I was like, the colors that you paint will not appear that way once it's finished. It'll be more.
That's right.
It'll be lighter, or
they definitely convert. You know, for sure. Like the cobalt, the blue glaze in the liquid state looks pink, but it fires blue. Yeah, and it's interesting because I've had some slightly over-fired pieces and they come out and I'm like, oh no, the show's tomorrow and this is not how I wanted it to look and it was supposed to look like this. And well, I'm going to just take them anyways. And the very example of that is the last year's Garlic Festival. The very first piece that sold was the one that I thought flopped, right?
Right.
She went right to it and she loved it. I said, can I take a picture of you with it? And she just loved it. So what we have as an expectation,
Sure.
you know, we get attached to. If it doesn't turn out that way, we think it's a failure, but it's actually what somebody else loves more than anything else.
Yeah.
So no expectations.
Yeah. We call those happy mistakes.
That's right. Yeah.
Have any of your creations had happy mistakes built into them?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I've had lots of happy mistakes. There's lots of the ones where you open the kiln and you go, oh my gosh, that's not what I thought. It's beautiful. I love that. But I do remember my biggest failure was having Sun Spirit Studio as a retail store / gift shop with my mom. And that was when my daughter was little. And we, it was before electronic kilns and it had a kiln sitter. So when the kiln reaches temperature, the little kiln sitter, it's called, is supposed to, the cone inside the kiln melts and allows this to fall down and that shuts your kiln off.
Yeah.
Well, we came into the store the next day and it was really hot in there. It was winter, but it was scorching hot in there. And the kiln, the whole entire kiln became one sculpture.
Shut up.
The shelves, every piece, custom Christmas orders for people.
Oh, jeez.
They were all one beautiful sculpture, just like a Christmas tree. That was a really horrible mistake. And what it was, the cone didn't fail. Everything was set appropriately, but there was a metal cart that was just a little bit too close to the kiln. So that lever fell when it was supposed to, but hit the handle of, and so the kiln did not shut off. It stayed on and it fired and it fired and it fired. So those can be disastrous and dangerous. So these new electronic kilns are just absolutely beautiful. I still don't leave home when it's firing, but I can stand up there and look down and it's showing me what temperature it's at. And I know.
What sort of temperatures do they get to?
Well, the first firing I do about 1800 degrees. And then the second firing is just around 2100 degrees.
Yeah, that seems hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it microwave, dishwasher, and oven safe. If you think about an oven that you're firing a pizza at 500 degrees.
Yeah.
So it's like, very strong.
You know, it can hold up to those temperatures. Is that what does it? Is it the knowing that it can reach those temperatures and beyond? Is that what makes it safe? Or?
Yeah. If you were going to fire something beyond that, the glaze wasn't formulated for that high of a temperature, it could leach into your pottery.
Right.
Or the clay might not be, strong enough. So, yeah.
There you go. Are you doing any lessons right now? Any workshops right now going on?
Yeah, I absolutely love doing the lessons at the Cask and Cleaver. We'll be doing some hand building lessons at the Creative Hobby and Art on Horse Lake Road. They opened up just over a year ago. They're doing amazing things. They have everything from models to puzzles to stained glass classes, and we're going to do some hand building, but they're also, I think, eventually going to get some whales in and do some pottery classes there. I do mobile classes. So I had a family here call me in at Christmas time for a big family gathering, and we all did mugs, and it was just so much fun. I do team building workshops with businesses, for employees to do team building. That's awesome. It's actually really fun.
It'd be good for couples too that are like
date nights and Valentine nights and all those kinds of things. Yeah, I just really, really love it. And kids classes. So I'll always continue to do that. And I really love doing special custom orders for people too. I do custom urns for people and
special.
Yeah, for families and pets. And that way, with an urn, for example, you can incorporate on the outside something that might be close to them, whether they were, a reader or whatnot. Oh, I want to share a really cool project that involved the community of 100 Mile.
Oh, that's
okay. So, I guess a year and a half or so ago, not this winter that passed, but the one before, I was feeling really well, if you listen to the news too much, you can get pretty depressed, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I was feeling a little bit powerless. Like, what can I do, right? I can create beauty and I can create my work, and that's an expression of love into the community. But what can I do? How can I help? I didn't know how. But anyways, I got the idea by, I should have showed you when I was in there, but there's a little bell. I was out with friends and we were in Barrier and in a little park. And my friend came up and said, look what I just found in the tree. And I said, in the tree? And it was a little bell. And I looked inside of it and there was an age, there was a name and an age. And it was a little baby memorial. So the baby had lived for 1 year and passed, and the family had these custom bells made and distributed them all over in hopes that people would find them. And so I contacted them and I said, I found one. And so I said, I took a picture of where it was and went hiking and relocated it and put it in another beautiful place in the hopes that something. So it inspired me. I said, oh, that's what I can do. Because I love hiking. So I made all these little bells, and I made like hundreds, like literally over the last couple years. And then I go hiking, sometimes with a friend, and we'll hang them in the trees of the trails. And then people can find them, right? And I can sit them on logs, or these ones I hang in trees. And then they can either take them home and hang them in their yard, or they can go hiking and relocate them. So some of them say peace or love or whatnot, like this one says peace on it. And it's just my way of contributing, because it kind of brings community together. Once they knew about it, I had people contacting me going, oh, we're going to go hiking and look in the trails for the bells. And then people would contact me and say they'd found them and put them somewhere else. And so it's getting us out in nature and beauty and focused on creating peace, right? Yeah. So that's a really cool community project. I just loved doing that. That was so much fun.
I love what you're all about. Like,
yes.
And if people would like to book a class or buy some of your art, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, if anybody wants to do one of those team building classes with their office or work, or a Christmas family party or a kids party or anything like that, they can always contact me on my Facebook page, which is Sun Spirit Studio Custom Ceramics. That's where I post classes and events and garlic festivals and women's fairs and cask and cleaver classes and things like that.
On Facebook.
On Facebook, that has just become the best medium ever. So responsive
in a lot of ways. Yeah, for
sure.
Great.
Yeah, and so just thank you ever so much for coming and seeing me.
So anybody want to say goodbye to before we leave?
Well, just thanks to 100 Mile for being a beautiful community and supportive, and just encourage everybody else to get your art out in the community.
Brilliant. Get your art out there, people.
You did a great job. I loved
Thank
learning
you
so much about you today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Todd.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.